I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast training for Top Gun Sales Boot Camp training. Oh my goodness. This thing is going to be, this is going to be an interesting one. Why is it going to be interesting, Mark? Well, um, so how do you get people to be fighter pilots when they struggle, riding tricycles? Well, and like, Nora, here's a question on pilots. If a pilot is deaf, can a pilot be deaf or not?
Probably not, because how would you make your radio calls?
Right? I don't know if they translate into braille or something. I don't know.
No,
Like, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You also have to have 20/20 vision or corrected for 20/20 vision, so I doubt that you can be deaf.
Okay. So so yeah, it's going to be interesting. And so if you're new to this group has been together for, I don't know, somewhere, some of us have been together for a couple months, and some of us have been together for 4 years, 3, 4 years, another for a couple of years. And so coming in at different levels. And so, where it goes, the key is it's going to have to get up to speed. And probably one of the hardest things in sales is it's in the mind. It's how we think. And so my name is Mark Boersma. I'll be your Top Gun. I'll be your Top Gun instructor. And so I guess we'll start off with my background in history, like what qualifies me to be able to be a Top Gun instructor. Um, so I graduated from college. I have 3 degrees in business, 3 bachelor's degrees in business, one in finance, one in management, one in marketing. Um, I went ahead and graduated. When I graduated, I had 6 job offers coming out of college. And the only job I knew I didn't want to do was sales because I didn't like salespeople and I knew I wouldn't be good at sales. And so, but I knew that I wanted to start my own company. And so I'm thinking sales is probably, probably pretty good to get some experience in sales if you're going to own your own company. And I didn't want to have a real job. And so I went ahead and was offered a position as 100% straight commission as a loan officer. So loan officers, it's like, it's not your typical sales position. It's not like a car salesman, nothing wrong with that, but it's a complex sale because you really have 2 sales. You have one sale where you're selling somebody a mortgage. And then you have the other sale which is where you're developing relationships with realtors and others. And so they refer business to you. So it's a complex sale. Um, there's different types of sales. So I was selling mortgages. And so a person has to have a mortgage. So you don't have to sell somebody they need a mortgage, right? So you guys to get the most out of the boot camp, you need to ask questions, you need to interact. And so you'll get more out. And so you don't have to sell them on needing a mortgage. Like insurance, like life insurance, somebody doesn't have to have life insurance. You have to sell them. So it's a different type of sale. That's why somebody can be good in one type of sales and not good in another type of sales because there's different types of sales. So I didn't have to sell that they needed a mortgage. I just had to sell that mine was better than somebody else's. And I was with a small, tiny company that hadn't been in business a long time. So that was hard. Um, and so I had 2 days of training and they said, go out and sell. I'm like, okay. And I covered a very wealthy area in the Chicago suburbs, Oak Brook and Hinsdale. So I knew, there are multi-million dollar mortgages. So I knew I'd be really successful. I wasn't. I made $1 an hour for the first 3 months, went into the president of the company, and I pounded on his desk literally. And I said, Tony, I'm doing everything you guys are telling me to do, and it's not working. And he said, well, Mark, it takes 15 to 18 months to really sell, to learn, to build a book of business is what he said, to build a book of business. And I said, well, I don't have 12 to 18 months because when I started the company, I'd graduated and my wife was 3 months pregnant and we bought a house. So the first mortgage that I did was on my own home. It was not easy getting that mortgage. Anyway. And so, so I said, well, I don't have 12 to 18 months, Tony. I mean, I got to make it now. He says, well, what do you think you ought to do? And I said, well, I think I ought to do this, this, and this. He said, well, go do it. I'm like, oh, okay. and that, like, this is where I approach sales and training of salespeople in a very different way. Like, tell them it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. You're going to work hard. You're not going to make any money. It's going to be so discouraging. Like, I don't try to sell people on joining. I try to sell people. Don't sell. Do not sell. Because if you can't make it through an interview, you know what? You're not going to make it in sales. And so I'm like, okay. So I don't like people. I love people. I was 20, so I've been 23 years old. So I don't like people, but I love them. I'm not a real big social person. Don't go out and connect naturally, So I said, well, what's working? And I said, well, this is kind of working, but this is not. And so I went to a trade show and we're all of us, there's all guys and we're all sitting behind the table at a trade show. And the president comes and he's like, what are you guys sitting behind the table for? You got to get out. And so he pushed the table back. He said, you get out in the aisle, you bring people in. I was not comfortable with this. So I was not comfortable at all. And so, now my wife was 6 months pregnant. So I'm getting pretty nervous. I mean, we bought a house from the money I saved when I was in high school. So I was a pretty industrious, kid in high school and junior high. Made a lot of money and saved a lot of money, didn't spend any. Tony Davis, the president of Preferred, he says, you're very different. This is a couple years later. He says, you're very different than other people. I said, how's that? He says, you not only know how to make a lot of money, but you know how to save it. So really frugal. And so I was walking around the trade show and I ran into this assessment thing. This tool. And I'm like, I could go ahead and do that. So fortunately for me, I'd started a number of my own businesses while I was in college, and one was a computer business. So I had more computing power at home. So I developed this tool that would help to differentiate me from other loan officers. So I was handing out rate sheets. And so, something to get me out in the field. But I was just like every other loan officer. So I had to differentiate myself from somebody else. So I had to bring something of added value. So I'm going out and calling on realtors. Now, again, a 23-year-old, young man, and I'm calling on, primarily women, not all, but most of them, most realtors, they're in very affluent places, they're going to be 50, 60, 70-year-old women, and I'm 23. So when a 50, 60, 70-year-old woman sees a 23-year-old male, what does she think?
Does she laugh?
Hopefully not in your face, but kind of. She thinks you're dumb and irresponsible. Why does she think that?
Because most 23-year-old men are dumb and irresponsible.
Right. Do I go ahead and gather a whole bunch of young men and we protest and go and say, hey, you're profiling me, or this is unfair, you can't go ahead, you're prejudicing? No. So what I did is I said I could feel the energy. None of them told me, but I could feel it. They were judging me. Like, ugh. So I went out there and I brought, Ginger Ann, within a few weeks of being born, she was out with me in sales, making sales calls. So we'd go downtown Hinsdale, and Roseanne and I and Ginger Ann would go down, and I'd introduce them to my wife. And so I used being married and having a house and then 3 degrees, college degree. So they thought, so dumb and irresponsible. Well, boy, this guy's he is not dumb. I was driving on by then it was when I first bought it, it was a really nice car, but not a sales car, but a car to, it definitely attracted the ladies for sure, which it did its job. And so I had a beautiful 1977 baby blue Pontiac Firebird spoiler with a T-top. I mean, this thing was nice. And so, but by then it had gotten a little beat up. So I had to park it down the road, like away from everybody, and go walk. Anyways, so Ginger Ann did her job. She went ahead and was a natural. She went ahead and smiled, and all the ladies loved it. So I flipped that. I flipped it. The verbiage. It's like I flipped what they were thinking. And so I went out there, after 3 months. Took me a month to come up with that first system. So I'd been out there 4 months with nothing, just get eaten alive. And I accomplished more in a week than I had in 4 months. 6 months after I joined the company, I was promoted to a regional manager, but I didn't make any more money. I was just making money off of somebody else now. But I had to recruit them. I had to train them, and they didn't have a recruiting or a training program. So I'm selling, barely get my feet wet and selling. 6 months after that, I was promoted to a marketing manager. Another story, maybe for another time, but still doing straight commission. And so I'm starting to build a sales force and starting to go ahead and make money on others. And then a year and a half after that, offered a position as vice president of sales with an equity position in the company. So I was 4 years with that company. And then I left that company, started Synergy Solutions. And so I was 27 years old, on track to make over $460,000 a year. And so, because I knew how to do leverage, that was before I did the course of leverage. So what I did is I built a system that not only worked for me, but worked for other people. And we built that from one of the smallest companies in Illinois to one of the largest companies in the Midwest. I mean, it was an absolute sales machine. So, so Alan Stein, Kenny and Luke know him. My brother was talking to Alan one day and said, do you think my brother Mark is a good salesman? And he said, he's the second best salesman I've ever known in my life. So I think what makes me a great salesman is I don't have the natural capability to do it. I think that's what made me a great sales manager. So a lot of times, great salespeople get promoted into sales management. They suck at sales management because they don't even know why they're successful at it. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're going to be doing a daily, boot camp here, and we're going to be going through, a couple courses. So there's one that's the 530 grid, a sales course, and it's, 6 or 7 lessons long, and it's ask key questions, and then it's present, solutions, and then why prospects are lost, and then apply the 5 time management freedom fighters, and then speed to sell, and then penetration versus expansion strategies. So getting more business from your current clients, that's penetration strategies, getting more business. Expansion strategies is getting more clients. So what do? You do both of those. That's one course. Then the other is Dollars in the Bank, which is Bach 4. That one's going to be 6 or 7 lessons, and that's, asking key questions. That's asking key questions. And so that's going to go drill deep, though. So it's going to be going deep in both of those. Now, you guys, I get to decide what you want to do. So the assignment for today was to go ahead and watch the first lesson, and it's 20 to 30 minutes of instruction in that course. So this is the course for that. And so there's 20 to 30 minutes of instruction, and then 30 to 40 minutes of Q&A. where you're discussing that. And then the others is the dollars in the bank. So Nora, did you watch both of those? Did you go through both of those lessons?
I did. The dollars in the bank one, I think that video, I don't know, it just like stopped randomly mid like the Q&A. So I'm not sure if there's another one that has the remaining of it.
Yeah, there's one that has the full lesson and there's one that has the other. Did you manage up and out?
No.
Okay. Are you familiar with the concept of managing up and out, or is that kind of a new concept to you?
No, I'm familiar with it.
Okay. Becky, did you go through that course?
Yes.
Okay. And did you manage up and out?
No,
Are you familiar with the concept or not so much?
not so much.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Kenny, did you go through both of the lessons?
Yes, or I went through two lessons. I did mine. None of mine had a Q&A.
Okay.
I think I went through the two that was in the email. So
Okay. And was it at 20 minutes or an hour?
I think both of them were like 20 minutes.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. And did you manage up and out?
I did not.
And are you familiar with the concept, or is that kind of a new one for you?
I am familiar with it.
Okay. Luke, did you go through both of these?
I went through the first one, the selling or the cash one.
Okay. And did you manage up and out on it?
No.
Okay. Are you familiar with the concept of managing up and out, or not so much?
I think so, yes.
So you guys don't understand the benefit of managing up and out. And so, Becky, what you do is a manage up and out. What do you think about the course, the lesson, and then what did I learn? What action am I going to take from what I learned, and what do I need to learn next? If any of you would have managed up and out, I would have trained Becky in how to do that. So one of the reasons you manage up and out is to go ahead. It forces you to document and pay more attention to what you're doing. So you're going to learn more from managing up and out. The other benefit is you go ahead and gain from other team members. So they're going to see things that you don't see, and you're going to see things they don't see. So you're helping them, they're helping you. So the four of you going through the training, the boot camp training in sales is going to help all of you. You all will succeed at much higher rates. And that's going to be important because Nora and Becky in their first year in sales, they want to make over $250,000 each. This is an impossible goal. This is why I like it. I'm like, ooh, I love impossible goals. So the level of which they're going to have to go ahead and grow and do things is going to be absolutely insane. I mean, it's absolutely insane what they're going to have to do. And so, questions, anyone?
How will the training or the process vary between, a servicing company and other?
Yeah, good question. So if you go ahead and like my experience in being a loan officer, I developed relationships with realtors and they referred business to me. So with Dreamscape, you guys are Dreamscape Creations, you guys are a construction company, but are you really a sales company? And so developing referral partners is very, very similar to what, Nora and Becky are doing. As a matter of fact, you guys could do triangulation selling. And so they could sell you and you could sell them. And so that multiplies. It's a leverage factor. Nora's going through the leverage course, the magical arts of positive, and we emphasize positive motivation, manipulation. It's the leverage. It's what I did when I was 23 to 27. most of that money, that 460,000, was not because of my work. It's because I built a sales force, trained a sales force, and helped them make a lot of money, made it a lot easier for them. So I was able to get a percentage of over their overall sales. And so it's just leverage. And I knew that. And the president of the company, he did not want to promote me. I pretty much forced him. So when I joined the company, there was a marketing manager, and he had, like, I don't know, 20, 30 years of experience in marketing. And then there was a sales manager, vice president of sales, and he had like 30 or 40 years of experience. Both super nice guys, nothing wrong with them. But within 3 months, I said, I'm going to take both their jobs. Like, lead, follow, get out of the way. Like, and again, they're both nice guys, but they didn't know, like, they didn't, they just didn't. And so I was like, and so I took the marketing manager's job. I mean, really, he kind of did I take it? Yeah. Or did he lose it? And I just was there. I don't know. Either way, I took it. And then I took so that was, within a year. And within a year and a half, I took the vice president of sales job. Took them both. And I took both of them. Yeah, the company got a good deal with me. And I got a great experience from it. I learned from it. So there'll be similar types of things. The concepts are going to be very, very similar. So selling a product or service, like you're selling in Dreamscape, you're selling. So that's going to be a little bit different, but same concept. So will be application. But where I see Dreamscape, you guys had, I don't know, 200+% increase in sales from year 2 to year 1. This year you're going for another, I don't know, 200, 300%, whatever it is, something big. And so you guys are the referral partners in both, getting business and otherwise is going to be pretty substantial. And so leverage is going to be really important to you guys. So good question. Other questions?
Yeah, how do you increase your sales closing ratio without, like, I don't know, just getting more leads? How do you?
The sales closing ratio, what Nora's talking about, is the funnel where it's going through. So you get marketing, so you get a lead, and then you go ahead and work the lead in pre-sales. So there's a combination in sales closing ratio. The average sales closing ratio for the average company is going to go ahead and be 10%. Large producers will be somewhere between 70, maybe 80%. If you're above 80% sales closing ratio, you're going to go ahead and probably have a lead generation issue. So it's how many leads come in. A lead is a name and a phone number of someone who expressed interest in your product or service. So it's a function one, Nora, of getting better leads. So your marketing, it's stronger marketing, and referrals are going to be the best. Typically, they're going to be the best from your current clients. Referrals are going to be that. The other is your pre-sales and sales skills. So it's getting better at asking questions. It's getting better at presenting solutions. It's getting testimonies in place. And so all of those type of things, it's a combination of everything being in flow. Your area 1 in flow, area 2, area 3, pre-sales, area 4, servicing, and area 5, client or relationships for life. So right here, we'll be going into box 16, which is B2B and B2C. That's where Dreamscape, I think, is going to do it, is you guys are going to be the conduit upon which business is going to flow. And others, and even like you guys will potentially be even a hiring firm. I mean, it's crazy what you guys would be able to do, and it all connects back into sales. So we'll be going into that in more detail. And so as we go into these, there's other courses out there that are already developed. And so box 27, that one is So there's in the sales courses, there's the 530 grid. You guys are going through that one. This one here, sales success. I'm not honestly don't remember that one. I taught it. I just don't remember what it is. I think they said there's 12 lessons in it. This is dollars in the bank, which is box 4. And then this is going to be box 27. And then there's profitable partnerships, which is a really cool lesson. I mean, really cool series there. And Sue. So we don't have box 8 is, I think box 8 is actually leverage, the course. So we have that. So we have box 4, box 8. We don't have box 13 or this one or this one. These are 3. We have individual lessons on them, but we don't have whole courses on them. A course is typically 6 or 7 lessons long. So when we get to that, we might develop these courses out. We'll see. We'll see. Other questions?
So in the lesson that I watched, it talked about a lot about key questions, asking key questions, how it applies to all the areas of the 530 grid. Like, how do you learn to develop the skill of key questions, come up with key questions, determine what a key question is?
So in here, there's a process here, and so you have a 30-minute. You have 30-minute, and it's like there's 3 minutes. You have a 3-minute introduction. This is the pickup line. And then you have level 1 questions, and this is done in 3 minutes. So it's set up to the questions in the sale, get them interested in you. So if you're not, if you're not married and you want to date, this is great for dating too. So the whole objective of the first date is to go ahead and get them interested in you. And you do that by asking them questions. It's not by telling about you. This is the number 1 mistake that salespeople make is they talk too much about themselves, especially experienced salespeople. They talk about themselves and their products and services rather than asking questions. So, an interesting fact, most people think the sale is done in presenting a solution, but the actual sale is in box 4 is asking questions. When somebody says that's a great question 3 times or more, there's a rule and they'll buy anything from you. I've been to networking groups where literally within the first few minutes, a guy said to me once, he said, Mark, I don't know what your company is. I don't know what you do. It doesn't matter. I just want to buy whatever you've got. Because of the questions. The questions is what sells. So that's 3 minutes. Then you have 11 minutes, and this is level 2. It's to determine if they qualify to work with you. Are they a good prospect? You're not doing them any favors if they're not a good prospect, don't waste their time. So that's 11 minutes. And so 3 minutes is to get them interested in you. 11 minutes is to go ahead and determine if, you're interested in them. Do you want a second date? Level 3 questions are 16 minutes. This is building a bridge between their biggest challenge and your solution. And then level 4 is another 30 minutes. And this is typically amiable and analytic personalities because this is what it takes to build. The amiable needs more relational thing and the analytic needs more data. Often you can sell an expressive or driver faster. So what you do is there's, the types of questions, standard B2B. And if you're doing B2B or B2C, that's different. So with you guys would have B2B and B2C questions. So there's templates in your Action Vision coaching. So if you're listening to this, talk to your Action Vision coach. There's templates in there that can be customized specifically to you. The key is to go ahead and, like, if you say you're a different company and then you sell like every other construction company or every other coaching company or whatever, if you're doing that, that's not going to work so well. Other questions? Okay, so this is an advanced course. And so when I see your manage up and outs, one is I know you're doing it and I know what questions you're having and what you're learning. And I also know what you don't know. So you're going to get a lot more out of it than the iterations to success. It's going to take, like Nora and Becky, they have $250,000 plus goals first year of sales. That's insane. That's so cool. That's exciting. I want to be part of that for sure. And so it's iterations to success. So I don't know, there's 100 steps for them to do. So they can't take a year to go through each step. They can't even take a month to go through each step. They have to shorten the iteration. So how fast you guys go through, some could get out in front of another. I would recommend you try to keep up with one another personally. But it's up to you guys, each of you. You're individuals, but you're a team as well. And so that's why going through the Top Gun sales boot camp with other people is pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. And so how fast do you go through these lessons? Do you go through, one a day? Do you go through one a week? Digging into it. I mean, it's not just, going through the lesson and understanding it on a surface level is really simple. It's not hard. This is not brain surgery. It's not rocket science. Getting it to be a part of your DNA, like managing up and out, it's all reflex. In sales, it's reflex. It's fast. It's just immediate. They say something, you understand. That is a lifetime. It's a lifetime. So I've been doing it for over 30 years. I don't know, 35 years plus now, and it's reflexes. It's just you go ahead and get an objection, and you learn how to prevent the objection from coming up by switching your presentation, asking the question in a little different. I mean, salespeople, the masters, you don't even know they're selling. It's all just natural. It's all just natural. So the last two questions that you always have is the second to last question. Is there any other questions that we should have asked that we didn't ask, or any additional information we should know that we don't know? That's always the second to last question. You always ask that question. And then the last question is, do you have any questions of me? And if you've done that just flawlessly, it's just a beautiful thing. It's just natural. They say, yeah, where do I sign up? How do I get started? What's my next step? Something like that. It's all natural. So hopefully this has been helpful to each of you. Again, going through the boot camp it's a beautiful thing when you go through it with other people. If you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300, outside the U.S. 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.